Florida that had 29 turnovers in their last loss. You can't do that against Kim Mulkey's squad today on your home floor.
Those 29 turnovers resulted in 42 Ole Miss points on Thursday. LSU coming off a hard-fought win over Vanderbilt last time out. That was Monday at the PMAC, 83-77. The 6-point margin was the largest lead of the game. The opening tap is won by LSU Samaya Smith, and we are underway here in Gainesville. And right away, LSU tries to attack on the inside. Michaela Williams knocks down the three. This is not an LSU team that relies on the three-point shot, but Michaela Williams will take them and make them.
Yeah, shooting 28% as LSU in conference play so far, making just 3. Florida's going to go under. If LSU makes 3s, so be it.
Turnover on the first trip for Florida, ends up in the basket on the other end from Johnson for LSU.
What I say to start the program, they thrive in transition, does LSU. You cannot have live ball turnovers. Throw the thing out of bounds if you have to.
McGill to Layla Reynolds. Reynolds has been playing some at the point to move McGill off the ball, but Reynolds can still score, but not this time. Shea Kyle got a hand in there, and here comes Michaela Williams back the other way. Cheyenne Day Wilson in the starting 5. A great feed and a finish. And what a start here in Gainesville. And an early timeout for Florida. 61 seconds into the game, and LSU's on top, 7-zip.
If there were any questions that LSU might be looking ahead to South Carolina on Thursday, check that box, no.
Great start for LSU here in Gainesville. SEC Network Basketball is presented by Sprouts Farmer Market.
The point guard to get that running game going, and that's the fire and the fight that I sensed again from Kim Mulkey last night. That she is all gas still. Eric, there's no let up with Kim Mulkey right now. She's got her eyes locked in on a potential another national title.
So Kelly Ray Finley takes an early timeout here to try to settle down her young Florida team. Here's Jariah Warren, senior leader. Three-pointer on the way from Warren, and a good response by Florida out of the timeout.
Well, when you're having trouble getting the ball inside the defense, you've got to knock down some threes if you're Florida to try to loosen up that heavy gap defense that LSU's throwing at you.
LSU outstanding offensive team, and you can see sharing the ball well here early, but forcing a turnover is Florida. Here's Reynolds up to McGill. Knocked away on the drive by Dizeko. 13 to shoot here for the Gators. There's Kelly Ray Finley. What are some of the things that Florida needs to do going forward here against LSU?
Well, she was very clear with her kids this morning. We have got to stay together and connected. We can't break off and do our own things when things start going sideways. And she made a great point. In this league, you have one possession to fix the problem. If you don't, you're going to get an 8-9-0 run put on you quickly.
Good job by Warren to keep it alive. No reset on the shot clock, though. McGill with 5. McGill with 3, rolling to the basket just into the game is Alexia Gassett, and she was fouled.
That's good action, though. You got that middle ball screen working, and you get that roll kid rolling out of it hard with a purpose, and get yourself to the free throw line.
All right. Obviously, there was more from the cut down the nets collection in Kim's wardrobe. You know, she had the kind of the dangling nets recently, so this is a little similar to that look.
I woke up this morning thinking, what are the odds that Coach Mulkey and I are dressed the same on game day? It was a very, 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 very low percentage.
You're telling me there was a chance, though?
There was a chance, but it was a very low percentage.
You've got something sequiny and sparkly in your closet somewhere, Jimmy.
Same exact thing.
Not just your personality.
No, I wore this outfit yesterday here for the men's game. I broke it out again today for the women's game. This is good luck to me.
Yeah. So if you wanted to try a little something on, obviously LSU's fans have turned out here today, and they know how to dress for their Tigers.
I mean, think about this. Florida's averaged about 1,500 fans in their last couple of games in SEC play. This thing's probably, what, over half full today? 5,000 plus probably.
The lower bowl is full, and the second level is filling in, and they're still coming in here, and that's been the LSU effect ever since Kim Mulkey took over. Flau'jae Johnson, no. Williams to the hands of Samaya Smith, and a turnover for the Tigers. So the 7-0 run has been answered by 5-0 and a stop here for Florida.
When Kim Mulkey enters the building, it's like the walkout to Morgan Wallen concert. The anticipation waiting on her to come out of that tunnel was special.
Good feed, and we are tied at 7.
Okay, so Kelly Rae Finley had a great timeout, obviously, to settle her kids down. And now hammering inside. LSU's not an overly large team. You got to make them pay at the rim.
Williams can't hit the jumper. You got to make sure it's one and done as well, which Florida does here. And here's McGill. One thing for McGill, too, is don't force it. She's turned the ball over quite a bit. 78 turnovers coming into the game here today. And that's going to be a turnover, but a dead ball turnover for Florida, which makes a difference.
Well, Florida's gotten back in this game quickly with this middle ball screen action, and McGill really good, Eric, to come off of it to her left and throw it with her left with accuracy. Tough play made look easy by Liv McGill. Again, the number 7 overall recruit in last year's top 100 rankings.
McGill averaging 5 assists a game, good for 4th in the conference. The SEC Freshman of the Week this week. Had a triple-double against Mizzou recently. 13 to shoot for the Tigers. Mentioned a win against Vandy last time out on Monday. Morrow, Johnson, and Williams combined for 68 of the 83 LSU points. You know where the scoring's coming from for the Tigers.
Yep, multiple kids, and you just rattled off 3 of them. That can literally, they can all go get 25 a night. Bam! Wow.
Three-pointer. Jimmy mentioned they're only making, on average, 3 threes a game. They already have 2 in the first quarter.
But you play the percentages if you're Kelly Rae Finley in Florida in this game.
There's Morrow with the rebound. Anissa with 91 career double-doubles, 17 this season. Dave Wilson will try a 3. Kyle with the rebound. McGill. Long pass on the money. Reynolds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, a left-handed pass from McGill across court from about 35 feet, right on the money.
McGill with 2 assists so far. 3 assists on the 3 made field goals for Florida here in the opening minutes. Johnson looking for the assist. Can't get it. Morrow looking for the offensive rebound. Not too often that you're going to win a battle with Anissa Morrow for a loose ball.
And again, McGill throwing that thing from 1/3 of the floor all the way to the opposite third of the floor with perfect accuracy on time on target. And that's what Florida has to do, Eric, I think, to stay in this game. They've got to make more than their fair share of threes. They come in making 6 a game at 33% on the year. That number has to be a little higher if you're going to hang in a game like this against a powerhouse LSU.
They made 7 in 13 attempts against Ole Miss. They shot 47% from the field. Good numbers, but when you turn it over 29 times, that's going to offset a lot.
You're just not getting enough looks, right?
Jersey Wolfenbarger is into the game for LSU, and they look to Kyle on the inside.
Yeah, LSU was caught in no man's land guarding the ball. They weren't sacked off back enough to take away the high-low. They weren't pressuring the ball. A defensive mistake you seldom see from LSU.
Florida in front after falling behind 7-0 in the first 61 seconds. Dave Wilson running the point. Morrow passes up on the jumper. Can't get the runner, and Reynolds rips down the rebound. Reynolds wants to push Dave Wilson back defensively. McGill will launch a 3. Second chance here. Dizeko with the rebound, and McGill finishes with that left hand.
This young lady is special. And a long-time relationship with her head coach, Kelly Rae Finley. Kelly's sister actually coached Liv in AAU ball since about the 6th grade. And you look right back up, Florida on a huge run.
Johnson can't hit it. Florida wants to run. Dizeko, tough one, and the finish.
Yeah, the nice right-left step. And this crowd is starting to impact the game. LSU out 7-0, and Florida with a timeout has a great response.
9-0 run for the Gators. Wolfenbarger to Flaugier. Back to Williams, 7 to shoot. Williams defended by McGill. Kelly Ray Finley down in the stands as well. And then another three. Well, that's their game average right there. 3 made threes as Williams gets her second.
But, Eric, if you're Kelly Ray Finley, you stay with your game plan. You go under ball screens, you keep the ball out of the paint, and give yourself a fighter's chance on the defensive glass by not being overstretched. I met Kelly Ray Finley for the first time her interim year. I was doing a men's game somewhere, and she had her team there for the next day. We just kind of crossed paths in the lobby. Fabulous person. And
now, this has become kind of standard operating procedure for Kim Mulkey. She's coaching against another expected mother. It was Kim Caldwell, Tennessee, last week, and Kelly Ray is due with her first child in April, so Kim made sure that she tapped into the budget for the baby shower gifts, although that budget's getting a little smaller
and
now.
You know it's going to be a great gift, right? Coming from Kim Mulkey.
Hope so.
Yeah. You might have a splash of purple and gold mixed in with it, but I'm a big fan of Kim Mulkey. She does so many things for people behind the scenes that most fans don't know about. They see all the glitz and the glamour and how hard she coaches, but she's got a really big heart for people, talking to her about the women's game, how much she cares for it. And again, she is still all gas right now on that sideline. There's no breaks in her letting up at all.
Last year, Poe on the floor along with Kaylin Gilbert. Gilbert, a homecoming for her back in the Sunshine State. She's from Tampa. Another turnover by LSU.
Eric, you can't do it. The post is doubled up before the pass was ever tried to be made.
McGill, they're leaving her open. Off the mark, and a rebound for Johnson. Morrow couldn't get it. Florida's doing a good job on the glass here. They're a +4 in rebounding margin against LSU, one of the top rebounding teams in the country. McGill up for 2 more.
How tough is this kid to cover? Hard to guard because you can go both directions equally with her paw and finish on either side of the rim. And an explosive first step with that basketball.
Speaking of explosive, that's Johnson getting to the basket. Morrow doing what she does best.
The fastest to the ball normally is the one that comes down with it. And that's described. Anissa Morrow grew up a guard. Has great quickness in that 6'1" frame.
McGill and Poa. Poa does a great job of taking charges, and she does so here against the freshman.
You know, she kind of baited McGill into that one, but Poa got right up into her and then backed off and maybe had a little bit to say about it right here, just kind of talking her into it. Bam, I got you, legal guarding position. Really well done. And to your point, leads this team now with 11 charges on the year, does Poa.
That's 2 personals on McGill.
That's a tough one. This team looks completely different when she's not on the floor. Talking about the young point guard for Florida.
Kyle, excellent rebounder. Good matchup with Morrow. Kyle has done a great job piling up double-doubles this season. She's got 10, which is 3rd in the SEC. Batted away by Morrow. 3-point attempt from Salgas off the mark. Tipped out of bounds, last touched by Miara O'Neal into the game, the freshman. So there's McGill on the bench with 2. You can just tell after that initial 1-2 punch from LSU in the first minute. McGill played differently after that timeout. The team played differently as well, up now on LSU.
Yeah, no doubt. Just the ability to go make a play. And now Layla Reynolds and Jariah Warren have to assume that play starter position with McGill on the bench. Go zone, just to change it up a little bit, see what LSU does about it.
Poa threw it up, and traveling violation, so LSU has turned it over for a 4th time. Hey, Shaq's in the building.
Yeah.
How did he sneak in? He doesn't sneak in anywhere.
He doesn't sneak in anywhere. We just haven't seen him until now, but it's hard to sneak in when you're Shaq.
Watching his daughter, the freshman for Florida, play here today. Entry to Kyle. Kyle, great fight to get control of that one.
What a deep bury. Again, LSU is undersized right now. And Florida taking advantage of it, just pounding the ball inside. Nice high-low action. And that ball is caught inside the restricted arc. And Shea Kyle at that point at 6'6". It is lights out.
So Kyle trying to finish the three-point play. 70% free throw shooter.
Number 6 in active players in NCAA basketball right now in double doubles is Shea Kyle.
How about Kim Mulkey? She has gone deep into her bench right now. She brings in the big post. Aaliyah Del Rosario played just 2 minutes last time against Vanderbilt.
Well, she needs some size on the floor. And that's why you're seeing Kim Mulkey having to adjust to the big lineup that Kelly Ray has thrown out there.
Final minute, first quarter. Reynolds. Back for Warren, defended by Williams. Now Saugus. Kyle from outside. Batted down. Second chance here for the Gators. And on the run, that won't drop for Reynolds.
I would have taken the last one, man. Back that thing out. You had the lead, the clock in your advantage, and a little bit of a rush off of a miss.
7 seconds with Gilbert. She has been money when the clock is winding down. Not this time. Batted around, and that's it.
What a great, not good, great bounce back by Florida. They were down 7-0 in the first 90 seconds. And this is an SEC that if you don't play your best, I don't care who you are, you can get knocked around any day.
7-0 in the first 61 seconds. Kim Mulkey was fired up, but Florida answers back, and how? Up 6 after 1.
7-0, and then Kelly Ray Finley did a great job to call timeout, settle her team down, and from that point on, they have been the best team in this building. And what I like about Florida is LSU, Eric, only has 2 offensive rebounds. Florida, #1 team in SEC play, only getting 74% on the defensive glass. As good as LSU is on the offensive glass, Florida just as good on the defensive glass.
Gators start the second quarter in zone here against LSU.
Yeah, it's a shrink the court, keep the ball out of the paint game for Florida. Live with that. Live with that jump shot. Don't worry about it. That's not what LSU primarily wants to do.
Johnson now with 7, averaging 20 a game, good for 4th in the conference. Saugus turned it over. That's the 5th turnover for the Gators. Johnson, tough shot. Challenged by Gassett. Johnson's got it back for 2 more.
She is a bucket getter, right? An absolute bucket getter. Mid-range star, long strides, is a fast driver. Wants to guard the other's best. Just a complete game by Flaugier.
25 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. In the Vandy win, she's gone for 20 or more in 14 of her last 22 games. Del Rosario with the rebound. Here's Gilbert.
Just erased it. Del Rosario did.
Gilbert, strong take, count it, and the foul.
Yeah, scoring off your defense. That's been a staple of Kim Mulkey over the years. It all started with Del Rosario blocking a shot, and they get that thing up on the left side of the floor. And really good penetration by Gilbert. And Kim Mulkey says that's how we're supposed to play.
So they started the first quarter on a 7-0 run in 1 minute and 1 second. We are 1 minute and 11 seconds into the second quarter, and if Gilbert makes this, it's another 7-0 run to start the quarter.
And the challenge for Florida is, without their star freshman point guard on the floor because of foul trouble, can they hold on in this second quarter, or does Kelly Ray Finley have to gamble a little bit and play the young freshman with 2 fouls?
What would you do?
I would not play her. The game, the score is going to dictate when you make that call. Just keep hammering it inside. You got other kids, Eric. They can feed the post right now. That's the strength of your offense.
Shea Kyle was fouled, and she'll go back to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
Again, this high-low action. I mean, those are bigger, taller guards out top, 6-foot kids feeding the post inside. And those Florida girls understand how to seal off and show a target hand. Really well done that time by Shea Kyle.
The feed by Layla Reynolds, who's averaging 10 points a game, but Kelly Ray Finley was talking about before the game, we have to get her playing the point a little bit more to get McGill off the ball, score. We talked about the turnovers, and Reynolds has looked comfortable in that position.
One of 3 McDonald's All-Americans for Florida
Reynolds has it blocked by Del Rosario, but it will be Florida basketball.
Think about the recruiting job that Kelly Rae Finley has done. The back-to-back recruiting classes she's brought in the McDonald's All-American. The talent is there. They're just young, and they're in a brutally tough SEC. But again, they are dangerous enough to knock off a top 5 team on the home floor.
Morrow rips down the rebound. That's her 3rd board.
Do not get outside that 3-point line if you're Florida. Shrink the court and make them see multiple orange jerseys. Live with 3-point shots.
Gilbert can't hit the jumper.
Keeping the ball away from the rim, though.
Reynolds. Saugus thought she had it. Didn't go down. Reynolds continues to find on the glass, and here's Gilbert back the other way. And she'll reset here for the Tigers. Day Wilson.
Kim Mulkey needs scoring from those 2-point guards. Well, one of them's got to step up and be an 8, 9, 10-point kid a game. You've got to be a threat, and a good job by Wilson to do it.
Saugus on the ball right now. Morrow reaches in to knock it out of bounds.
And there's our answer.
Yeah, here comes McGill into the game. Yeah. So Kelly Rae Finley wants her on the floor with the 2 fouls.
Yeah, you got to coach with your gut instincts, and I'm sure she had a conversation with McGill checking back in about how to play with 2 fouls in a high-level game. You cannot be a risk taker on either end of the floor playing with 2.
Seven to shoot. Here's O'Neal with 4. O'Neal finds the cutter. And a traveling violation, a turnover for Florida.
It was a good cut, good idea. Didn't panic. O'Neal, one of the 3 McDonald's All-Americans on this roster.
Now I got to ask. Shaq, LSU alum. No divided loyalties here today with your kids on the floor, right?
No,
just making sure.
Not at all. I'm so impressed with Morrow. I'm sure Shaq is as well. My first time to see this young lady in live action, but just the pursuit of every basketball, the quickness, the hand strength, understanding angles, knowing where her team takes shots from and how the ball is most likely to come away.
She's been doing that since day 1 at DePaul, now in their 2nd year at LSU. Coming up next, Starkville the site, Magnolia State showdown, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Men's game was entertaining yesterday. We'd expect more of the same for the women coming up next on the SEC Network.
Well, that is a bitter rivalry within that state, no matter what the sport, what the gender. You might have the men's game yesterday. Mississippi State didn't foul late and allowed Ole Miss to throw in a 3 to get it to overtime. A lot of 1-2 possession games in the men's side of the SEC basketball and in the women's side this year.
That's 3 personal fouls on Miara O'Neal, so she'll go to the bench with 3 in the first half. Here's Samaya Smith as O'Neal goes to the bench. Smith, you know the backstory, right knee injury against Niagara in the Cayman Islands last November. So she's still working back to being 100% back to where she was at the time of the injury. Kim Mulkey said it's just confidence right now, just trying to build that up a little bit more.
Yeah, she was a double-double when she got hurt with that ACL, and a freshman on that title team for Kim. A lot of hours in this LSU program.
There is Smith. That's what she does so well, a shot blocker. Yeah, she had 4 blocks against Vandy last time out.
Yeah, fantastic rim protector. Just kind of the glue, I think, at times when she's on the floor. Talk about 5 in purple. Just makes winning plays, makes others better.
It's her 27th block of the season. That's top 10 in the SEC. Another turnover for Florida. So this has been a different story in the second quarter for Kelly Rae Finley's team. They've been outscored by LSU 11-1, and Florida hasn't hit a field goal here in the second.
Well, Florida can't get offensive sensitive right now and let the lack of offense affect their defense. They've got to talk if they're going to play this zone. They have to gang rebound and limit LSU to 1.
Smith was fouled. Yes, late whistle, but Smith will go to the free throw line and shoot a couple.
Those frustrated, coach. I've been there about as much as anything when it looks like the play's completely over and then the whistle comes in, and pretty sure that's what Kelly Ray's talking about right now. Like, did you see it? Did you anticipate it?
Brandon Enterline.
Kelly Ray coaches hard, and she was coached hard by her dad, right? High school, AAU, Ray, and
she started to tell some stories today, and I have a feeling like if we brought out a comfortable couch and let her lean back, she really would have unloaded a little
no
bit.
doubt, yes, yeah. Her dad's in town for the weekend, lives in Minnesota, and her dad coaches this team as hard as she does when she asked him for advice.
Well, she joked around a little bit. They had a great win against Missouri. McGill had a triple-double, and the first comments from Coach Dad is the things that they didn't do well.
Yeah. Didn't love some of the body language, he said. A good post-up position again. Just continue to hammer it inside.
Smith. Well, Smith and Del Rosario have been an effective 1-2 punch protecting the rim for LSU, and it's made a difference here in this quarter as this drought continues for the Gators from the floor.
And Eric, now Florida taking it out of bounds under with only 6 seconds on the shot clock. This needs to be a pretty quick hitter. I don't know if they realize it.
McGill trying to make something happen, and that's a mistake.
Bad foul, bad foul. You've got to know defensively about the shot clock. You're forcing a tough two. Why bail them out?
Day Wilson gets called for that foul with 1 on the shot clock, and McGill will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
Kim Mulkey just in a great spot right now in her life. She says she walks every day, loves spending time with her grandkids. She still loves the work, and she was so confident in how competitive this year's team is.
Now, I did some research. Back when you were coaching Arkansas, you coached against Kim Mulkey one time. What do you remember about that one time?
How many career wins does she have, first of all? 700 what?
The most important one was that one against you guys in the NCAA tournament. You played them in Waco.
We did. Yeah, in my first year, we were a 10 seed. We beat Northwestern, a 7 seed out of the Big Ten, and won our first round game there at Arkansas. And then I match up against her in the second round, and she comes out after the entrance, and I go down and shake her hand. I'll never forget it. She stopped me. She said, "Jimmy, what are you thinking, young man? You're too good on TV to be messing around with this. What are you thinking?" This is right before the game. I go back to my bench. I'm like, what am I thinking? She beat us by how much? 30?
She got you 30? By 30.
Okay. Yeah. I just know we were down 20 at half, and I got a technical walking off the floor because I did not like how the last possession ended. I do remember that.
That's the thing, the little bit of research I came up with. You got teed up in an NCAA tournament game.
Yeah. Make the most of it while you're there, huh?
McGill with 2. McGill just has to hoist it, caught the iron, and a rebound for Ernie Kindred, and a second chance here for Florida. I did check. The 3 officials are still working in that game, but they're not at this game
today. This is not the 3 today?
No, this is not the 3 today. Florida needed that. They get the bucket to make it a 4-point game. That's going to be a foul called on Gassett.
Eric, I'm glad you brought that technical up. Nothing that still bothers me, because my kid got smoked. She went in for a rebound and got smoked. Then no foul call. We go the other way. Their kid lays in the layup with a touch foul, and we're down 21.
Let it all out there.
Where are those 3 officials? 5 teams in the country taking on Florida, and I just have a ton of respect for Coach Mulkey, man. She cares about things she should care about, and she don't care about stuff that she should not care about.
We talk about incredible consistency since her first year at Baylor. They've got 19 wins here today. A win here today would mean she is 25 for 25 in 20-win seasons. She's never had less than 20 wins in a season in her coaching career.
And it's a player. She won 30-plus games all 4 years and 2 national titles. I mean, it's all she knows.
McGill tries to back off to Reynolds. Reynolds playing with a lot of confidence here today. Knocks it down. She's got 5.
Yeah, they got to have her. I mean, she's got to look for her shot more. You just can't have McGill scoring and inside.
Morrow, tough take for two.
She gets work done over length, as well as I've seen in the women's game in a long time. I mean, she's listed 6'1". She's certainly not more than that. And length size does not bother her much.
That three is short. Michaela Williams with the rebound for LSU. Approaching 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Tigers jumped out to a 7-0 lead, but Florida led by 6 at the end of the first quarter. But this second quarter has belonged to the Tigers. Williams with 2 more. She's into double figures now with 10. I think Kim Mulkey has been wanting to see more from her team defensively, and she has to like what she's seen so far here in the second quarter. Morrow went down, faking being fouled warning given to LSU. Diving play by Michaela Williams. 3 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, to your point, Kim's team was very good at the line of scrimmage. That's the ball screen coverage. Jumping out on McGill, forcing her into almost a turnover. Much more alert, much more aggressive.
Again, a foul called on LSU with the shot clock winding down.
Kim Mulkey feeling like the offensive player initiated, but man, back to back within the last couple of minutes. Late fouls on the possession by LSU.
Her displeasure with the last foul with the shot clock winding down was with her player. I think it's changed a little bit to the official this time around.
She told
That's
me
just a guess, though.
Yeah, she a new 20 to work with. That's wide open.
McGill got a piece of it, but Wolfenbarger touched it last.
I look at Jersey Wolfenbarger right there now, 6'6". When she was in the 6th grade, she came to my basketball camp when I was the head coach at Arkansas, and she was a squirt. I'm telling you, she was a very small 6th grader with great handles. You knew she's going to be a terrific player, and she hit a growth spurt midway through her junior high years, and all of 6'6" right now.
Oh, look at Morrow grab that rebound with authority on the defensive glass and give it to Williams. Morrow.
Well, Florida is very physical with their box offs. I love it.
McGill pull up 3.
Where is your transition defense, LSU? You know McGill in transition's a threat to step into him.
And a foul underneath on the 3-point attempt by Williams. Well, what did Kim Mulkey say last night? Transition defense is the first thing she mentioned that her team needed to do well here today, and it's let them down a few times.
Her goal is to hold opponents to 39% or less in field goal defense. And right now, they're almost at 42% in SEC play. That's 3 percentage points higher than what this LSU program standard is.
Florida over the limit. The foul on Gassett, and Morrow to the free throw line. Anissa Morrow, the SEC Player of the Week for a 3rd time this season after her performance last week.
And about 2 games this year already with 20 points, 20 rebounds. National Freshman of the Year, her first year at DePaul, Chicago kid. Transferred to LSU because she wants to win a title.
Reynolds dragged the pivot foot, so another turnover for the Gators. That's 9, 5 coming this quarter. LSU has not turned it over here in the second quarter. That's a big reason why they've erased a 6-point deficit and are up by 4.
And Kelly Rae Finley's got a young team that, talking to her this morning, she said, we're still thinking, we're still thinking about what's next instead of being instinctive and reacting. It's just only time can solve that problem. Or you're going to sit in that zone. Still got to stay between the ball and the basket.
Williams off the dribble. The feed broken up by McGill. Good defense by Florida. And here's Liv McGill.
What's behind?
Now Saugus wisely will reset here for the Gators.
Eric, a very, very important 2 minutes right now for Florida to keep this thing single digits.
Tough pass. Kyle couldn't handle it, and here comes Gilbert on the push. Good defense. Recovery by Kansas Saugus.
I like the toughness of Saugus. Miami transfer, battled through 3 different injuries at Miami, but right there, bam, just gets all ball. The second person off the floor, didn't leave early and just ate the ball up. Really well done.
Saugus played 8 minutes a game last year, 23 minutes a game this season, so much bigger role for the Gators. Flaugier on the pull-up.
That is beautiful, was it not? I mean, the pop and the high release, the explosiveness. I'm telling you, Florida, they got to keep this thing single digits going into the half.
Johnson with 11 on 5 of 10 shooting. Reynolds, that's well off the mark. Kyle takes it away from Smith. No reset on the shot clock.
Yeah, get a good one. Still plenty of time.
McGill, hesitation. Smith with the swat. Williams back the other way, can't finish. And McGill will answer for Florida. Freshman will slow things down inside of a minute to play here in the quarter. Look at Morrow out on the freshman trying to get the steal. McGill to the basket.
Man, it's a one-man possession that time. Bounced that thing probably 10 or 12 times. Was impressed with Morrow to initially stop the ball as the nation's leading rebounder taking on a point guard, but McGill finally just fought for her spot.
McGill with 13 points to lead all scorers, has 3 assists. Playing with 2 fouls. Johnson, no, and that foul's going to be called on Morrow.
Again, Florida very physical on the defensive box offs. Just that little bit of push right there by Morrow to get some separation and gets called. That's all about Florida, though, playing just as physical as LSU and the ball's on the glass.
Shot clock is off as Reynolds will walk it across half court. Saugus down to 10. Down to 7. Smith steps out defensively. Saugus, no. Johnson grabs it, heaves it from half court, and that will do it for the first half. Kim Mulkey's team came out firing. They're up 7-0. Florida answered back to lead by 6, but it's a 4-point advantage for LSU at halftime. Well, the great benefits of working with Jimmy Dykes and not Jimmy Dykes coaching is he cannot get a technical walking off the court here today. Alyssa and Steffi, back to you in the studio.
I don't know, are we sure about that? Can we test that theory as we welcome you into the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report? Steffi Sorensen, Alyssa Lang here with you. We'll get you back out to Gainesville coming up in just a few minutes for the second half.
Jimmy doesn't want to test that.
Why?
He wants to keep his job.
First broadcaster, color commentator, getting a technical, walking off the floor at halftime. I don't know. I think it makes for a good story. So did this first half.
Yeah.
LSU got off to a hot start, 7-0. Florida takes a timeout. What changed for Florida to make it a more competitive first half?
Well, they went to a little bit more of a zone, and I thought that was a big difference because it slowed LSU down. And we know LSU wants to get out in transition. They want to play fast. And I thought, first of all, everyone looked at me Thursday when I talked about Rashea Kyle. She has got to set the tone for Florida because everyone's looking at Liv McGill, the freshman, the All-American. She went to Paige Beckers High School. Like, once Rashea Kyle gets the ball, she shoots at such a high percentage. She's so effective for them, and they went right at her early in this game, and I think everybody else feeds off of her. Liv is still getting her feet wet. She's just a freshman. She still has time to shine.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, you go to your senior early in a game, that's a top 10 team.
On the other side, it's Flaugier Johnson who leads LSU in scoring right now. She's got 11. Michaela Williams has 10. What is LSU doing well? What do they need to do to really put their foot on the gas and try to run away with this one?
They just have to be smart with the decisions that they're making and their half court, because Florida playing zone, so they're daring some players to shoot. But I really like the way that Flaugier kind of attacked it. She took her shots that she needed. She got the ball to Michaela Williams. That 1-2 punch, obviously very hard to guard, but Flau'jae getting to her spots, which is the most effective thing for the perimeter players for LSU, and not letting Florida's defense dictate where they shoot.
Yeah, you heard Jimmy say it right before the half. Hey, if Florida can keep this at single digits going into the break, good for them. 37-33 right now, LSU with just a 4-point lead. We'll talk more about that one coming up in just a few minutes. How about this one? Big Top 25, Big Top 15 matchup.
Are we ready in here?
In Columbia, South Carolina today. This one will be over on ESPN. You're talking about an Oklahoma team with the 4th highest scoring offense. Jenny Baranczyk excited about this challenge.
But this is also the difference of being in the SEC and not being in the SEC. And this is not a comparison to the Big 12. This is not a knock on anybody. But, I mean, you're going to play in the best team in the country, the best program in the country. I don't care if there's a number 2. We all know, right? They're a storied team. They're a very deep team. And you go see where you're at. You go see where you're at mentally. You go see where you're at in terms of X's and O's. You see where your team's at. The game is a beautiful game, but it teaches us a lot of things. And so the scoreboard will tell the exact story that needs to happen. And so if we're not ready, that will show. And if we're ready, it will show.
A lot of respect there from Coach Baranczyk to South Carolina, but a stat that I saw that astounded me, South Carolina has never beaten Oklahoma. 0-3 all time. Now, one of those matchups came during the Dawn Staley era. Just one back in 2009. But still, not often we say that about South Carolina.
Yeah.
Reagan Beers will have a lot of attention during warm-ups.
She's questionable for this game, which, you know, if you think about Oklahoma, man, they've got great guard play. They play really fast. They can score #1 in the conference in assists. But Reagan Beers at 6'4", 6'5", that's your anchor. She's going to get you rebounds. She's going to have, obviously, her hands full against South Carolina's big. So I think that huge. I mean, we're going to be in here watching, is she warming up? Is she going to start? Because it's kind of changed the look for Oklahoma. That said, I watched the South Carolina game back against Alabama. They closed the game really well, but they had lulls within that game. You know, and Dawn Staley was talking about coming in, you know, playing Oklahoma. We cannot afford those lulls. Alabama got right back in this game, but here's where they're really good at. Moving the basketball, finding open players, Sanaya Fagan, making Oklahoma really guard for 30 seconds because, you know, Oklahoma, we're talking a lot about their offense playing, but their defense is going to have to guard South Carolina, and not just that first 5, but that next 5. But there's a lot of veteran players for Oklahoma, and I think they're really eager to see where they match up against the #2 team in the country.
You were talking about Rashea Kyle being the one to set the tone for Florida. If South Carolina is going through lulls like we saw against Alabama, who is that player who has to set the tone for Dawn Staley? Because there's several who can do it, but who do you look to?
Man, that's a good question. I would say it would probably be Bree Hall or Tahina Paopao to rally everybody, understand what is expected of us, and kind of get back on track. And so look to them. But I think Oklahoma is a team that will make you pay during those lulls, and that's where South Carolina will be tested today.
It is going to be a fun one. Coming up a little bit over an hour. We're going to be glued to that one here in the studio, and we will keep you updated on all the day's action. When we come back, we'll talk about more of our Sunday Fun Day because we've got some other great matchups coming your way. We'll play a little more or less, make some predictions on the afternoon when we come back. Right now, Flau'jae in the locker room. Can she come out just as hot as she was in the first half?
This halftime report is presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
The first half by a young freshman.
As mentioned, McGill picking up those 2 fouls in the first quarter, and Kelly Rae Finley went to it in the second quarter. That paid off, kept Kim Mulkey's team from extending that lead too far. They're up by 4. It's Florida with the possession to start the third quarter. Warren for McGill. Hesitation, kick it outside. Deep 2 on the way is good from Alexia Dizeko.
What a great read by McGill. She comes off, understanding there's drop coverage, keeps her dribble alive, and finds the same side corner 3.
4th assist for Liv McGill to go with her 13 points, turn it over twice in the first half. Morrow spinning for 2. 9 points for Morrow to go with 5 rebounds. Kyle. Split second too late to find Warren on the inside.
Yeah, the ones you have to make, though, in this league.
And Dave Wilson on the other end for 2.
And what did LSU just do to start the game? 7-0 run. They came out in the second quarter. They were hot early. Here they go again.
McGill once again working with the Kyle screen. Up top for Kyle and a turnover for Florida.
No, that pass was not nearly as good as the opening possession. McGill right there reads the drop coverage, attacks it, and instead of forcing up a tough 2, finds that same side corner filled. And those are the type plays that this young lady needs to continue to make in this second half.
Dave Wilson to Michaela Williams. Won't drop for a 3. LSU hit 3 threes in the first quarter. They did not make a 3 in the second quarter. And McGill traveled.
Yeah, and an unforced turnover by McGill, just losing control of her body. But to your point about LSU, made 3 threes in the first quarter. That's what they make in conference play right now. It's at only a 28% clip through 4 games. You're not beating folks from the outside. If you're Florida, play the percentages, keep your defense shrunk, and continue to battle on the glass.
Johnson can't get the 2. Samaya Smith kept it alive. Morrow comes away with it. Williams on the offensive glass. LSU trying to make up that rebounding deficit in a hurry here in the third quarter.
Yeah, one of the few times in this game Florida was watching on the defensive glass instead of rebounding the ball.
Reynolds on the drive. Smith came in looking for the block, and it was last touched by Kyle. Smith had 3 block shots in the first half.
Well, when Kim Mulkey's team is getting out rebounded at half, I can guarantee you the message was sent at halftime, and Team in Purple starting to climb on the glass, and that is their strength. I know they're an undersized team, but yes, ma'am, that's how we play the game. If you're an LSU Tiger, get on that glass and make them pay.
LSU -9 in margin in the first half. They are +16 on the season, which is good for second in Division I. Morrow was fouled. Kyle picks up her first. See this all the time with Kelly Ray Finley ever since taking over at Florida. Now in her 4th season, she'll go down, crouch down, talk to players, talk to coaches. There's always teaching going on. Tuesday, men's hoop doubleheader here on the SEC Network, also on the ESPN app. Mark Sears, 4th-ranked Alabama, hosting Vandy at Coleman at 7 Eastern, and it's Mizzou and Texas in Austin to follow. Vandy coming off a big win over Tennessee in front of a full house at Memorial. First sellout in 6 years at Memorial.
Now, Alabama goes to Rupp Arena for another monster win in the league yesterday on the men's side.
Tough take and a trip to the free throw line coming up.
The long strides of Layla Reynolds. It's hard to stay in front of. McDonald's All-American coming out of high school. Having to play time at the point right now. Injured during the summer with a hip injury. Probably just not getting back into full speed form. But she and McGill, they just have a different level of work ethic. That's not common in the college game. Just constantly in the gym, constantly working on their craft, waking up with a plan every day, serious about the game of basketball.
After the first free throw, Natasha Kami, the official, just wanted to make sure Layla was okay.
Yeah, and she saw the rim okay? Yeah.
And Layla said, I'm good. I'm ready for a do-over, so she goes 1 for 2 from the line. One and done that trip for LSU. Reynolds, beautiful spin, and she'll go back to the free throw line.
So what is Kelly Ray doing now? She's going to put some isolation plays, just trying to drive with her athletes, getting downhill. And it's always a race to the free throw bonus situation in the women's game. Can you get there before your opponent and get 2? And I like the isolation drives by Florida the last couple of possessions.
Williams picks up her first personal. And the sophomore from Brandywine, Maryland, back to the line. Layla was the only freshman on the roster last season. All freshman team in the SEC, started 31 games.
She's one of those type players, if her first or second shot of a game goes in, she may go for 20, but she gets a little lack of confidence if those first couple don't drop. She'll grow out of it.
Day Wilson, Miracle Shepherd into the game.
Wide reach.
Day Wilson gets fouled.
Yeah, Eric, but why reach? I mean, you got shot clock was down to 11, and LSU was dribbling to no man's land, and you bail out with a reach in. You're not going to steal the ball away from kids at this level with a good handle.
Miara O'Neal into the game. Remember, she picked up 3 fouls in the first half. Smith gets away from O'Neal. Tipped up and in. That's Miracle Shepherd who puts it in for LSU, her first points.
Yeah, just 5'10" to get on that offensive glass.
Layla Reynolds, another aggressive take. This time it doesn't work out. Taken away by Day Wilson in transition now for LSU. Michaela Williams sets for 3.
Yeah, they need a timeout. I was just going to say they probably need a timeout. And I don't know if Kelly Ray's going to take it or not, but you look up and it's just like that, an 11-point lead.
Hoping her team can work through things.
Yeah. But she was so good in her timeout in the first quarter to send the message.
O'Neal tries the 3, can't get it. Shepherd the rebound. LSU has pushed it up to an 11-point game. Kim Mulkey directing traffic now as her team tries to add to their largest lead of the night. O'Neal, good position to take it away from Smith. McGill throws it off the rim. We were praising some of these dimes that she's been dropping, but that one, the coin, if you remember, a payphone just kind of went through and came back into the slot.
It sure did.
Am I dating myself now? Back when dimes were a payphone?
Yeah, you are. But she's a risk taker, which you have to have some of that in you if you're ever going to be great. But you're going to have to tap that down just a little bit as a primary ball handler.
Williams for 2.
I just fell asleep, just back cut her kid, and LSU now starting to look much more like the number 5 team in the country than they did much of the first half.
They've outscored Florida 14-5 here in the third quarter. Outscored them by 10 in the second quarter. Another 3-point attempt, and LSU can taste it now. Shepherd on the push. Shepherd can't get the finish, but she was fouled, and a trip to the free throw line coming for LSU when we come back to Gainesville. Kim Mulkey, it would be nice if she would just let a little emotion show once in a while. His team was down 6 after 1, but they are plus 19 in scoring since then.
LSU now 4 out of 9 from the three-point line, and that's... they came in making 3 a game. They have not settled for 3s in this game, although Florida doing a good job of shrinking the court defensively, making it tough to get inside that paint. LSU's not taking the bait, and that shows great discipline and understanding of the game plan on the road.
Shepherd out of the media timeout, makes a couple of free throws. 15-point lead. 9-0 run right now for LSU. Warren. Shepherd, excellent defender, all over Warren. McGill gets it to go.
Yeah, that was really good defense, though, and just better offense at the end by McGill to read that drop coverage and stick that elbow jump shot.
First points of the second half for the freshman from Minneapolis. She's got 15 for the game. Morrow gets called for the personal foul going over the back. That's her second.
We talked about Kim Mulkey not happy with her team defensively, especially the last couple of ball games, Eric. They've given up too many points. The goal is to hold opponents to under 70 a game, and they've allowed 87 and 77 in their last 2 outings.
Now, 87 to Tennessee keeps Tennessee under their season average.
It does. That's crazy, isn't it? Well, that's a team that they sub 5 at a time. They shoot a ton of threes. Coach Caldwell's got those gals in shape.
Jariah Warren knocks down her second 3 of the game. And here comes Florida trying to answer back after falling behind by 15.
Yeah, so important just to keep the crowd in the game, in the building right now, to keep game pressure on LSU.
And it's been a great crowd. Great turnout here today. A lot of LSU fans, but I see a lot of orange and blue as well in this building. There's Morrow leaning in for 2.
So active. Just never takes any part of a possession off.
12.7 rebounds now for Morrow. Saugus. Back for McGill. 3 minutes to go in the quarter. McGill is fouled by Day Wilson.
I mean, McGill continues to come off that ball screen to that elbow jump shot. And going back to that hustle play by Morrow, just continues to fight, find an opportunity. Bam, right there. Ball bounces to you with alertness and takes it up strong. The complete package. Again, she was a guard, a point guard in high school there in the Chicago area, went to DePaul. And just the 8th player in NCAA history with 2,500 points and 1,500 rebounds.
National Freshman of the Year. 22 and 14 that first year. Anissa last year, first team SEC, playing next to Angel Reese, had 16.5 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, but she's up to 14.5 boards a game this year. Here's one. That leads the country.
Kim Mulkey telling us last night, Angel Reese made everyone better. She had so many double team opportunities and just absolutely killed people as a passer.
Smythe Smith thought perhaps she was fouled. Nothing was called, and it's Florida basketball.
Kim Mulkey last night said, I'm going with what Nick Saban said on game day this year. You better have some dogs, but the biggest factor is, do you have hunting dogs or show dogs? You got to have some hunting dogs. You don't want show dogs. And that's how she's always driven her program, man, to be the aggressor and bite when you're asked to bark, and that's how they play.
Gassett gets called for the foul.
Should you ever wear the same outfit twice?
I would think there's no way. I mean, they're all so unique. I mean, it's not like you wear the same outfit twice on back-to-back days.
Proof today, right now. You're right.
There's Williams exploding to the basket, and she'll go to the free throw line.
You know, Williams just dog determined to drive that ball, even against pretty good coverage. And this LSU team, they understand where their strength is. They are an inside-out playing team.
You know, sorry, Jimmy.
Well, they don't just throw it inside to a big post player, but they still get a ton of points in the paint because of their ability to drive it and then get on the offensive glass.
You know, we talked to Kim last night, back Pat week, and just flat out, Kim, what's your best Pat story? And she couldn't stop at one, but one that stood out to her, and I think it's kind of helped form how she is as a coach, is back when she was a player and she was playing for Team USA, and Kim suffered a stress fracture, and Pat was the head coach at the time, and Kim thought, oh no, she's coming to talk to me and I'm going to get cut. And Pat said, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. That thing's going to heal in 4 or 5 weeks. Our first game's not for 6 weeks, and I got to have you as my point guard. She also had a great memory about when Kim said, when I got pregnant, Pat reached out to me and said, whatever you do, make sure you keep coaching. You can coach and be a mom at the same time. And they had a tremendous relationship.
Certainly. 7 to shoot here for Florida. McGill from deep gets the roll. That's deep too.
She puts in the work to get those type of bounces her way.
Well, approaching 90 seconds to go in the quarter. It's LSU on top by 11. Chance to bring it down to single digits. Here's Reynolds on the push. 4-2.
Beautiful sidestep by Williams to avoid the contact. I thought LSU shot that last one a little quick. Just one pass, a skip pass, and a jump shot.
Jada Richard getting some time at the point. Oh, Williams wide open again for three. And then there's a foul called on Ernie Kindred. She and Morrow. Is Kindred saying she was flopping?
Oh, that's a push. In just a matter of time till Florida's going to get called. It's physical. They've been boxing off. I appreciate how hard they play, but that was more of a push and a box off, right?
Officials go look at it.
The previous play is under review. I know.
So we don't know exactly what they're looking at, but it's obviously going to be connected to that play to see if there was something that they did not see in real time. So they'll go to the monitor, see if anything rises beyond a common foul. Timeout on the floor.
The previous foul on orange 21 has been upgraded to an intentional foul. 2 shots for purple. Anyone can shoot. Ball at half court.
All right, so during the timeout, they went to the monitor, and an intentional foul has been called on Ernie Kindred after that exchange with Anissa Morrow. Let's show you what happened.
Eric, it's the right call, and I think what they look at, you saw all the things that it could be, but this falls under unnecessary, hard, and or excessive. And there's one thing to have a physical box off, but when you ultimately are the one doing the pushing like Orange was that time, and they did the right thing by going to the monitor, and those are the reasons right there for an intentional foul, contact fouls in the women's game. But go down that fourth one, to me, excessive, hard, and or unnecessary contact is what the ruling was.
So Williams will go to the free throw line to take 2, and oh my goodness, she had made 22 in a row. I did not
You didn't
say
no,
before,
it's not your fault. No.
Just so to be clear. Michaela Williams, she can't believe it.
I agree with you.
I'm Michaela Williams. I'm a 94% free throw shooter. She's coming over and down in front of us. I feel like saying, yeah, she just said to the radio folks down here for LSU, did you jinx me, she asked.
LSU radio is a little tight over here.
We didn't say anything.
No.
Yep. Anissa Morrow gets lost in the shuffle.
She does her talking on the court, does she not?
Batted away by Morrow.
Eric, if you're Florida and you're trying to pull off an upset, you cannot allow someone to just be completely uncovered off the side out of bounds, just waiting for a pass and a one bounce to the rim. And those are the kind of plays for a young team. If you're Kelly Ray Finley, just drive you nuts. Like, what were we thinking? What were we saying to one another? Obviously not good enough.
And a turnover, traveling violation called on Florida. So turnover number 16 for the Gators.
Eric, there's 3 reasons why teams talk on defense. Number 1, the coach is making us, so everybody's talking. That's not a good reason. Number 2, we talk when things are going our way. That's not a good reason either. Why teams really talk is because it's in their winning DNA, and winning matters to you. Until you get to that level, you're not talking at the right level.
McGill with the rebound. She'll hold for 1 with the shot clock off. McGill holding with 6. Reynolds can't get it, and a rebound pulled down by Johnson, and Johnson lost the handle, and that will do it. Another good quarter for LSU. They outscored Florida 22-15 in the third. Kim Mulkey's team up by 11 heading to the fourth.
Yeah, you just knew coming out of halftime that LSU was going to take it to another level. And LSU is 1 quarter away from being ready for a monster matchup Thursday at South Carolina. And again, that's what LSU averages per game, and 12 in purple, just a affecting the game in every area already. 7 rebounds, couple of assists, and multiple bucket getters on this LSU lineup.
She can do it. Went for 42 against Kent State, highest scoring game for a Tiger in 28 years. And there's been some Tigers who could score over that period of time. Here's Flau'jae Johnson. First points of the second half for the junior from Savannah. And LSU's on top by 13. One little side note for LSU. They have not committed a turnover in the second half. They only have 5 turnovers in the game, and they force another Florida turnover. Look at Morrow hitting the gas to the basket for 2.
And yet you're talking about the leading rebounder in the nation, bringing it rim to rim. And he grew up a guard and still has guard skills at time, but LSU now just starting to get separation in this game. Florida most likely just not enough offense, Eric, to fight their way back in.
McGill tried to get it up to Kyle, could not, and numbers back the other way as Johnson pushes it, gets in front of McGill, and lays it in for 2 more.
What a beautiful finish at the rim by Johnson. The long, outstretched arm release, can't get to the basketball.
And Florida will take a timeout just a minute 12 into the fourth quarter. Now down by 17.
Well, LSU is right there with the best teams in the country. And when they start playing their brand of basketball, what does it look like? They thrive. They thrive in transition. They are so good at getting out, running, and finishing. The long arm of the law by Flau'jae Johnson.
South Carolina had a road win, 76-70 over LSU. The rematch coming up on Thursday in Columbia.
Remember, Eric, LSU 2 years ago went to South Carolina, got beat in the regular season, and then went on to win the national title. When I watch South Carolina play, defensively, they are suffocating. And they held a really good Texas team to, 27% from the field. And that's uncommon. That's not easy to do against Vic Schaefer's squad. And I know the loss of Ashlyn Watkins to an ACL injury has impacted that South Carolina team, but they still got Kitts, Edwards, Fagan, those post players, man.
The depth is crazy. They have an all-star team coming off the bench. Joyce Edwards, the freshman, has been outstanding, averaging 12 points a game, shooting 55% from the field. She'll be in the running for freshman of the year in the SEC with Liv McGill here from Florida. They've both been outstanding. South Carolina also, don't forget this fact, they've won 67 in a row at home heading into their matchup today with Oklahoma. That's at 3 o'clock Eastern time over on ESPN.
If you're into odds to win a national championship, South Carolina, UConn, Notre Dame, UCLA, USC, Texas, and LSU. That's your top 7 in terms of who seems to be favored to cut down the nets. If you look at the power rankings that are out there right now, the top 16 teams in the country, 6 of them are out of this league. Walk.
It's another turnover for Florida. They're piling up now. That's 19 turnovers, and the Gators were hurt by that last time out against Ole Miss when they turned it over 29 times, resulting in 42 points for Ole Miss.
And Eric, where does that show up? I mean, LSU now has taken 13 more shots in the game because of the turnover.
Flau'jae Johnson had it knocked out of her hands, but she got it back and got the assist, dropping it off for Morrow. Warren. Reynolds, and Gassett gets called for the illegal screen. That'll be her 4th personal foul.
Nisa Morrow, she has a nose for the ball, just a knack to find it. The ball finds energy. And your point about Johnson, she slips through that double team and almost fumbles her way into an assist, but it's such a great set of hands by Nisa Morrow. First in the nation, we mentioned, in double-doubles.
She does not have a double-double yet today. She's got 18 points and 8 boards. Still a lot of time to go here in the fourth quarter.
She is tremendous at a lot of things. She's a star at consistency when I watch her play.
Williams Williams will head back to the free throw line.
Good play. You go 1-4 high and lift all the defense and get it to the hands of a strong physical downhill driver, Michaela Williams. Very strong athlete. Has that one bounce pull-up game, but she's one of those bucket getters that Kim Mulkey can play call for down the stretch of a game.
Another free throw to come. Friday Night Heights will be here at the O-Dome this week. Number 7 Florida hosting 15th ranked Georgia. That's at 6:30 Eastern. And then number 1 Oklahoma taking on 3rd ranked Alabama. That's coming up Friday night here on the SEC Network. Williams with 20 for the 6th time this season and the 13th time in her career. She has it off the other turnover on the other end, and Day Wilson's got it, and LSU will slow things down. Although Flaugier doesn't waste much time, and she'll head to the free throw line.
Very fast athlete, is she not? And these LSU kids, they attack a bad closeout as good as anybody in the women's game. And they've done it several times within this game to get to a 20-point lead. They have been confident in late games, closing out late games. They've had a couple of them, LSU has, and that should give them confidence going into South Carolina Thursday night.
That foul on Gassett, Jimmy, that's her 5th, so she's done. Scored 2 points, had an assist for the Gators today. Well, you mentioned that meeting a couple of years ago between LSU and South Carolina in the national championship season for LSU. I remember Kim Mulkey, who's been through a thing or two in her Hall of Fame career. They weren't ready for that game. They weren't ready for that moment. It was too big for that team at that time. Yeah. But you grow, you learn, and they learned a lot. Took a lot of lessons from that game, and it ended with their first national championship with that win over Iowa.
And they can do it again this year, LSU. Now they're not the favorite. They're not even the favorite in the SEC, but you get to March and the confidence that she coaches with and the competitive kids that she has, it's there for them.
You went through those odds, though.
Yeah.
I don't see any team there where it's like that team is a cut above, far and away, a finished product above other teams.
That's where the women's game, Eric, has made the most growth over the last several years. You look at the top 25 right now, 10 of the teams in the top 25 are still 3 unbeatens and 7 of them with just 1 loss. The depth in the women's game continues to get better and better as that talent gets spread out.
Johnson with the basket, and LSU will call the timeout, stretching it out here in Gainesville. 6:15 to go in the 4th, and it's all Tigers at the moment.
Official attendance is 6,568. The 4th largest crowd in Gator women's basketball history. Thank you, Gator Nation.
Well, there's what Kim Mulkey's looking at. That's a huge one. Game day on Thursday at South Carolina, and then go back and take on A&M, a ranked team in Oklahoma, Mississippi State, at Missouri. Nothing easy on that schedule, but this is a head coach that's wired to have her kids peak at the right time in the biggest moments. And the last 3 national titles have come out of this conference. South Carolina in 2022, LSU won it in 2023, South Carolina in 2024. And there's enough potential in this league again for another national title to be hung by the Southeastern Conference in the women's game.
Well, LSU is on that short list, as you mentioned. They've outscored Florida 13-0 here in the 4th quarter to blow open what was a tight game. Approaching 6 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter.
Eric, I mentioned how the depth in the women's game has gotten greater. It has certainly within the top 25. I just don't think the women's game is still yet ready for tournament expansion and going to another 4, 6, 8 teams. When you look at the teams right now that are the first 2 or 3 out, the resume's just not there. It's just not there right now in the women's game. I don't think to look at expansion. It's probably going to come at some point. I think we're in a great shape right now with a 68.
You know who's not in great shape right now? Michaela Williams. When you look at her head coach's reaction to the attempted behind-the-back pass on the break.
No, she's not in great shape.
There's Morrow with the steal.
And Florida, they are too soft with the ball.
Back the other way. Here's Williams.
And I'm not saying something about Kelly Ray's team that she's not going to say herself. Just too strong or too weak with the ball. Passing, handling. It will not work in this league having 20 turnovers a game.
Kindred. Closing in on 5 to go. O'Neal. Here's Warren. That won't go. Del Rosario had the position. It was knocked out of bounds by Kindred. LSU basketball. El Shaq's daughter picking up those 3 first-half fouls, looking for her first point. She does have 5 rebounds and an assist today.
Shaq he got the same neck problem I do. I do about 500 times a day trying to get my neck loose.
It just looks a little different when the Big Diesel does the Jimmy Dunk stretch.
His neck is twice my size.
You're moaning and groaning, and it sounds like you're shuffling a deck of cards when you move. I wonder what it sounds like for Shaq up there.
He's got all kinds of security around him up there in that corner.
As do you. I'm your muscle today. Morrow inside for 2.
They can feed that post, LSU. Man, it doesn't look like they're open. They are so well schooled when they want to throw it in there.
Morrow's got a double-double, Jimmy. I'm sorry, 18th of the season, 20 and 10 for her today, the 92nd of her career. Tipped out of bounds by Morrow. It will be Florida basketball. So 92 career double-doubles, which is a lot until you look at the all-time record holder, and that's Courtney Paris. Morrow comes out after a 20 and 10 game, and the LSU fans that have showed up here in Gainesville give her a big round of applause.
She starts the game with 10 points and 5 rebounds. It's just a matter of how high that number is going to go.
You're just saying you spot her.
Yeah,
that. It's just a question.
You just know going in, the opposing coach, okay, she already has that when the game starts. What are we going to do to try to keep her somehow in check?
Good finish by Reynolds. She'll have a chance for a 3-point play.
Now, I know Florida's going to slip to 2 and 4 in the league, but they had a really good crowd here. They see the young talent that Kelly Ray Finley has put on this roster for Florida with 3 McDonald's All-Americans. You can see the direction they're trying to go. Just you can make improvement in this league, Eric. I lived it. You can be better from one year to the next and still not make headway in the conference standings because of how good this league is.
Next up, they'll be at Auburn next Sunday, so they have a week of practice, which always helps. A jump ball, Kindred and Shepard getting tangled up. Possession arrow will give it to Florida. But you know how tough this league is. Down the line, they've got South Carolina still to come, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas in 4 of their final 6 games.
There it is. You know, we're in the middle of back Pat week. And it was probably 25 years ago, Pat Sumner and I got to work as a broadcasting team in the WNBA playoffs, and we spent about 7 days together because the series went back and forth. I think it's a best of 5. And some of my greatest memories with her, sitting at an early breakfast for about an hour and a half, just talking ball. Like, she would ask me my thoughts on things. I'm like, you're a Hall of Famer. And you're asking me what I see from my perspective as a young analyst. But she was so giving and caring for time for everybody. Always had time to stop and take a picture, sign an autograph. But and I treasure those moments, those hours that she and I sat alone, preparing for games, talking ball, talking college, different defensive coverages, just a soul and a spirit that we all still miss, right?
So you're at breakfast, you look her in the eyes, and the famous eyes, but it's like warm, and you're learning things, but
yeah,
that look as a player, if something didn't go the way you wanted to,
yes,
it could look a little different, or an official who maybe didn't call something that Pat agreed with.
I knew when she said, hey, pass me the pepper, I better do it quickly.
And do it the right way.
And do it the right
Jimmy,
way.
This is the way you pass it. You go with the right hand over here on the right side.
Aren't all the great ones wired like that? Kim Mulkey's wired the same way. Don Staley. That's one thing that stands out to me about that game coming up on Thursday. 2 of the most competitive coaches in this women's game, man. They hate to lose. And They will have their kids completely prepared mentally, physically, spiritually, everything else for what could be a knockdown drag-out in Columbia on Thursday night.
And when you think about Dawn Staley and Kim Mulkey and what was left in the legacy by Pat Summitt, how they have helped grow the game on the whole.
No doubt.
Now, look at the crowd we have here today. Just a huge crowd here at the O-Dome. A lot of LSU fans. A lot of people who want to see an LSU team and how they play and how they do it, and want to see if the Florida team can knock off LSU. But between the attendance we see at those road games for South Carolina, UConn for years and years and years, and now for what LSU has done for women's basketball, it's just a continuation of what Pat Summitt started for women's basketball.
You know, Kim Mulkey still has a big vision for not only for her program, but for the women's game. We're talking to her about coaches' salaries and who's deserving of more and maybe who's not deserving as much. But she sees the entire game with a great focus from a big picture standpoint, and obviously the details of what she expects from her own team.
Well, she just got bumped from the top of the pay scale by the contract extension that Dawn Staley came up with. And Kim wasn't going to take the bait last night where I said, did you send Dawn a thank you text for resetting the market? Kim's like, I'm fine, but she didn't want to go down that road. She'll handle her negotiation separately, privately. 2:29 to go.
I had, and I think maybe Coach did too, a little bit of concern maybe of, are we looking ahead to South Carolina? Certainly not from a coaching standpoint, but you're dealing with young ladies that they know what's coming up, LSU next. But to come in here on the road against a good, talented, just a young Florida team that makes too many mistakes to actually win a high-level game, but to have the focus, the discipline, to play well, to be pushing right at 80 points again, should be happy with their team's defense.
Saugus launches from deep for three. Well, it's not like this was a 20-point game in the first quarter. It looked like it was heading that way when LSU jumped out to a 7-0 lead in the first 61 seconds, but Florida came back, led by 6, so LSU had to work. It wasn't one of these don't break a sweat games leading into the South Carolina showdown on Thursday. Gators made them work, and LSU just huge in the second half. They've outscored Florida 41-24. McGill gets the steal, and she'll go in for 2.
But Florida is going to have another highlight package to watch tomorrow of all the turnovers we committed in the game again. Well, I don't know what the number is up to now. 23. And you just put those things on a reel and stop and break down every turnover. And at some point, valuing the basketball has to be understood by this team in orange.
There's another turnover. So it's 24 turnovers, leading to 35 points off of those turnovers. Another big number, similar to what happened against Ole Miss. Here's Kyle turning inside in the final minute, and she'll go to the free throw line to try to finish off a 3-point play. Getting a lot of love from her bench. Happy that she's still playing hard here in the final minute.
And we mentioned a torn ACL last year when she was averaging a double-double. It's amazing, right? What she's able to do just a year out from that injury, especially for a big kid in the women's game. Sometimes they take even 16, 18 months to be back to full speed. But well done by Shea to attack that rehab and back producing. Well, LSU has done their part to keep the hype alive for the game coming up Thursday at South Carolina as the LSU champ begins to take over here in Florida.
It'll be Florida basketball. LSU will improve to 5-0 in the SEC, and they'll remain undefeated. Penn State's in a battle with Ohio State is Ohio State trying to remain among those undefeated teams.
And now, I'm correct, right? Kim Mulkey, every year as a head coach, has won at least 20 games, as we're 8 seconds away from her winning her 20.
25 for 25.
That's a pretty good streak, and I don't see any signs of it changing next year.
You just think about it. There wasn't a get up to speed at Baylor. You were in the fast lane right away and kept it there year after year. And I know there's a lot of games that are played, especially when you're playing deep into March and into April, like her teams have done at Baylor and now at LSU. But just remarkable consistency for the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, she's got a great staff. She leans a lot on Bob Starkey, who's been around the women's game a long time, high-level assistant coach. And they have their flaws. LSU does, Eric, like everybody else in the women's game, but they got a lot more strengths than flaws. And the first thing that Kim Mulkey said to me last night when I first saw her, I said, "Tell me about your team." She said, "I got 4 or 5 ultra competitive kids." And I said, "Well, that's a great starting point for you, coach." And she does.
80-63 is the final. It's another 20-win season for a Kim Mulkey team. LSU undefeated heading into their showdown with South Carolina on Thursday night. For Jimmy Dykes, great job, Jimmy.
Hey, it's fun to be with you, yeah.
And our entire crew, I'm Eric Freed. Let's go to Alyssa and Steffi.